So, Heartstopper. A little different content for the channel here, but the hit Netflix series that recently came out based on the graphic novel by Alice Oseman, I watched the show about a month ago and haven't been able to stop watching it. Heartstopper came out like April. I watched it in June, and I don't think I've been as happy watching a piece of media as I was watching Heartstopper. So spoilers, by the way. It's sweet, it's wonderful, it's wholesome, it's relatable, it's slightly dramatic, somewhat idealistic, and totally perfect. For me anyway. I'm sure a lot of people have been tired of the constant trauma that usually comes with a typical LGBT program, so for this to be as happy as it is just a breath of fresh air. Sometimes in life, you need to see the most idealistic results so that you at least know have a good sense of how to get there in your own personal life, because realistically, life kinda sucks. But you want to be able to get to the point where it doesn't, and seeing ways in which, you can do that on screen, it's pretty good. Instead of just living in tragedy with seemingly no way out but to suffer.
I'm afraid you're just gonna have to suffer then.
For those of you who haven't watched it, I recommend you definitely do, unless you're like homophobic or transphobic or whatever, in which case this video probably isn't for you anyway.
I'm claustrophobic, Darren!
Heartstopper is lovely, and how lucky the new generation of LGBT are for having it. I had media to watch when I was a young teen going through all the struggles and stuff, but it had its fair share of tragedy. I mean, half the time I just expected that at least one of the characters was gonna die, because why wouldn't they? Like, this is an LGBT movie. Some queers gotta die, right? So, it's so adorable. Like, Joe Locke, when Nick tells him, "Well done," and Joe's like, he has no right to be that adorable. Anyway, there are so many great episodes and moments worth noting for the fandom, but I just need to give props to what must be my favorite and most watched episode, episode 1, Meet. For people who aren't traumatized like the community is, it might come across as a bit boring, but it's just so adorable. One of the things that got across so well to me that just completely sent me straight back. In comes Charlie to what is the equivalent of homeroom, and he's assigned a seat next to Nick Nelson, an arguably popular kid with some sports accolades to his name. The wind blows, the leaves flow, and there you have it. Magic. We also had somewhat assigned seating in that you stay in the seat that was chosen for the entire year. However, for my school, we had slight flexibility in that the initial choice of where to sit was up to the individual on the first day of the school year. And if the teachers saw fit, they'd rearrange the students to achieve the minimum amount of chaos among groups. It just so happened that on the first day of class, in an unexpected turn of events, the only guy I had ever had a crush on in that school up to that point ended up sitting next to me. I was 14 at the time. Despite being LGBT in a secondary school, an all-male secondary school, mind you, no one really interested me. I mean, at that age, even if you find someone who's developing really well, the personality is always going to tick you off. It's always going to be the deal breaker. I was developing one the previous year, my second year, where this guy was smart, kind, he was funny. I started a little crush on him, particularly because he got glasses. I'm not gonna say I have a thing for guys with glasses, but now for context, I was not a sociable guy. Technically, I'm still not, but it was worse in secondary school. I wasn't necessarily mean, I just didn't communicate. So it's not like I'd have been anyone's pick for a seating partner. In that instance, I'm pretty sure he had no other choice because he came in a bit late and everyone else had already picked their own seats. But just because I was basically mute didn't mean I wasn't screaming on the inside, cause he was genuinely a nice guy. In secondary school, you have to deal with a lot of inconsideration at large, but casual homophobia back then especially was just commonplace. So it was nice to have one of the few guys in the year that just didn't participate in all of that. There's a chance whoever's gonna sit next to you is gonna sit next to you permanently for the duration. It's always a question of, oh, who are you gonna get this time? At least I could say that the person next to me wasn't a problem in the slightest. Sadly, no crazy love story happened as a result of that. Charlie's life just seems like a total blessing to me. You know that line that Charlie's like, I never thought this would happen to me. Dude, that still hasn't happened to me. I don't think that'll ever happen to me. I don't know if that's happening to anyone in schools. No. The thing is, it was still magical. It was so significant that I could sit next to someone so inoffensive and in some ways get to see sides of other students through him. I mean, what Tao said is pretty applicable.
I bet he's a whole different person when he's with his bro, dude friends.
Me being me, who never really speaks to anyone. Like, at the end of the year, I'm expecting, okay, he's probably had enough of this. Next year comes, I sit in, like, the third row, I think it was. In the first year that we sat together, I was, like, on this side, and then in the third year, I was, like, on this side and back. I think I had my head down for the beginning of that day, cause first day back to school after, like, a summer vacation or whatever. Awaiting doom and destruction in the way of higher education. He walked in. Note that I remember this. This clearly meant this boring story that never goes anywhere. It meant so much to me. He came in, took a seat closer to the front to talk with, you know, legitimate friends. A few minutes pass. You know, I'm still a little bit like sour. But wouldn't you f***ing know it? Would you f***ing believe it? Somebody sits next to me. I have my head down. I don't know who it is. I actually don't lift up my head, I believe. I think I'm just like, I'm trying to sleep. I don't even want to know. What revealed the truth to me was someone else, I think one of his friends, came across to talk to him specifically. And that's when I knew. That's of his own volition. He chose to sit next to me again for another year. And the year after that. First time he sat next to me was basically by force because all the other seats were taken. That next year, he sat next to me for no reason. Guys, I feel like yeah, that's one of the most impactful moments of my life, and Heartstopper just sent me straight back to that, except in a more tragic way. Hats off to Heartstopper because they really said, let's call out this man's past. And the other highlight I had from episode 1 was close to the end after Nick saves Charlie. It's just that feeling you get when you don't think you're deserving of help, but someone steps in to help you anyway. It's so massive. And when it's someone you respect, it's both reaffirming and terrifying. But to top it all off, we have this brilliant little parting scene with Charlie doing the look back, which is excessively relatable. I cannot tell you. For the few of you who watch this video and have seen the show yourselves, I'd love to hear some of your favorite episodes, your opinions of the show, and stories from your past that compares to Nick or Charlie's, or Tao and Elle's, or Darcy and Tara's. Leave what you have in the comments, I'd love to read them. Anyway, Heartstopper is great. Y'all should watch it. Yeah. That's it. Guys, this is dumb. This is dumb and stupid, but I was googling Heartstopper for this video, and they hit me with the what the fuck is this? Yo, that's respect. Holy shit.